right, and welcome back to Physically and Financially Fit or Fitness with Dr. Grace
Rachel Glover.
and we welcome you once again. Now, but before we get started, you got to push that like button and you have to share this video. Okay, you have to do that now before we even get started. And I thank you in advance. Thank you. So today we're going to be talking about, in the words of Rachel Glover, the B word.
Yes,
Budget.
the budget.
Yes.
It's not a bad word. It's the best word for your money
Yes, it is.
and your health.
And your health. And then, I'm like, how can you equate that to your health? You got to budget for it. You know, if you want a gym membership, you have to budget for that. You got to get gym clothes. You got to get gym shoes. All the things of comfort. And we talked about in the last video, which you need to go back and look and like, invite, and share on that one too.
Yes.
Different ways to exercise where it doesn't affect your budget.
Yes.
But as I was thinking about our talk today, you know what you could do also, which is a B word, if you celebrate your birthdays.
Okay.
You have birthdays coming up. You can make a request for some things, like maybe get your gym membership started, or a pair of gym shoes, or workout clothes, or things of that nature to invest. Supplements.
Yes.
That's another thing too.
Yes.
Supplements. You can budget for that, and also give the gift of health.
Amen.
A gift that keeps on giving. You can request for those things. Blood pressure cuff. Especially after COVID, everyone should have in their home and budget for a first aid kit, a blood pressure cuff, a pulse oximeter that checks oxygenation when you're breathing and your pulse, and a temperature, a thermometer to take your temperature. That should be stable in everyone's home across the globe, right? And you also need to have a first aid kit in your car. And you can go on Amazon. It is, Amazon, and you can order it. It's very affordable, and it's medical equipment, medical supplies. Most oftentimes, they get it to you within 24 hours.
Yes.
But anywho, budget for it. I mean, a lot of you, if you look at your budget, you have a whole bunch of stuff coming from there anyway. So why don't you make it part of your health and wellness journey? Make it part of your budget anyway.
Yeah. So budget is one of my favorite things to talk about. My other favorite one is business, and we'll talk about that later. But basically, you have to have a clear-cut vision on what you're trying to achieve, and you can't do that without getting a picture of it. You have to get a snapshot of what money is coming in, what money is going out, and be able to make sure that you don't have more month than you have money.
Yes.
Or more money than you have month, whichever one it is.
You want to have more money than you have month.
Yes, there you
don't
go.
want to have more month than you do
That
have
part,
money.
you
That
don't
part.
wanna
And while you were talking, I was thinking about, for me, I'm just going to be totally transparent here. I'm medical doctor, medical school, no business training while you're in medical school. They just allotted us a month to go to a clinic and sit at each part of the clinic, like the front desk, sit next to the biller. But there was no training. There was nothing. How do you create a budget for your practice? None of that was ever taught, but there is so many things out there today, technology-wise, apps.
Yes.
I'm using an app right now that tracks my business because I felt overwhelmed going through my bank statements, writing stuff down. It was too much for me, just being totally transparent. So much so to where I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So now when I connected the app to my bank account, it will send me a notification. These are the bills that are coming up, Grace. And it's a lot better than me just sitting there going through everything and feeling so overwhelmed to where I didn't want to do it at all. Utilize things that are out there that are available to you app-wise. AI is so many tools out there now that you can use for your personal budget in order for you to get a handle. So like she said, to get a snapshot so you can see where you are in regards to your the B word.
Yes, yes. So you want to identify all your sources of income, all of your sources of income. If you have a salary, or maybe you have child support, or maybe you have alimony, all your income, even your passive income from your investments. And here's a thing: when you get bonuses, that's extra money. And so having extra money, you should be able to allocate that to help you and not spend it as this is your regular income. Now, some people have something called irregular income. And so what is that? Business owners, yes, or if you're on commission, those are types of things. So your budgeting has to be different when you have irregular income, but you have to identify it. Half the battle is knowing what it is. I think G.I. Joe said that. Half the battle is knowing. And so likewise with your expenses, you need to go through and categorize. You have your fixed expenses, which is usually like your rent or your mortgage, your car note. Those are things that don't change every month. They're the same amount. That's called fixed. Or you may have something that's they're unfixed, they're flexible, like your perhaps your phone bill, if your cell phone, if it fluctuates, you go over your plan, or your utilities. Unless you're on a budget plan, it's going to be the same. If it's not going to be the same, it's going to vary. So then you have to realize, well, when should I use my electricity? Because now they have prime times and different times that your utilities have different costs depending on when you use them.
Yes.
And so we want to make sure that you're identifying all of these expenses. And another thing is key is that you need to review your stuff on a regular basis. Have a meeting with your money, at least monthly. I say do it monthly. Some people do it quarterly, but do it because every month is different. Even though you have fixed stuff, you have to consider the times when you have birthdays, when you have anniversaries. You just celebrated a holiday, Christmas. You have to budget for that starting now. Don't wait till December. Start putting something aside and it'll add up, but you have to do it on purpose. I recommend get you a calendar.
Yes, that's
great. Get a calendar and put birthdays on there that you want to celebrate, anniversaries, weddings, graduations. All these things affect your budget if you haven't allocated it in advance. So that's how you build your budget, and you do it every month.
Yes, I love that. So I have a question for you.
Okay.
And so being that someone like myself have variable income, because I'm a doctor, we bill for services, and the insurance company decides how much we're going to get back what we bill. And so it varies. So my income varies from month to month. So even though you say you have that fix, what would be the best way for someone that has variable income to set up a system to where they have the money set aside? So how would you recommend a person to do that? And then and it's a twofold question. And second part of that question is, you do some reading and they'll say this much of your income should go towards housing. This much income should go towards transportation. And to think about transportation is just not the car. It's the insurance. It's the upkeep. It's the gas. All of that. So what is the going rates now because of inflation? You see on social media what in the 70s what $90 worth of groceries get you then versus what $90 worth of groceries get you now. So are those percentages still the same?
Technically they are, but a lot goes into our housing, because it's not just the rent or the mortgage, it's the insurance, it's the maintenance, it's the utilities. All of those things are calculated. But the thing about variable things, you can change them.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like if your insurance is high, you can get another rate and bring it down. You need to shop around, because insurance companies, all these companies are competitive. They want your money. Right. So it's good if you are able to find ways to save money that way. As far as irregular income, it's good. I like to break things down like weekly. Like if I have a bill that costs something, $400 a month. I would say that's $100 a week.
Okay, gotcha.
So
That's
I'll
perfect.
base it down like, okay, this is how much I need each week, opposed to looking at it and it makes it smaller, makes it more attainable to you. Okay. And then if you know your income is regulated, it's good if you can get ahead of it. And so if, for instance, say your tax bill for your property taxes, save for it all month. Every month, take something out of it. Don't wait till this time that is totally due.
Right.
Break it up, then how much is that each month I need to put aside, or each week I need to set aside, and have these separate envelopes or separate bank accounts. I don't know, whatever works for you. Yeah, you know, depends on how savvy you are at keeping track of everything,
Okay.
you know, because one thing I know for sure, if you leave it in your main account, you're going to spend it. You're going to spend it. So get a savings account and put it and earmark it. These are for bills.
Okay.
This is for this bill, and do not spend it, because guess what? If you do, you're stealing from yourself.
Wow.
You really are. You know, because that's not your money. That's the bill. That's the bill money, right?
Bill money.
So that's how I would look at it like that.
Thank you for that. Because I was thinking for me, myself, going into this year, because I have different businesses and then I have savings accounts attached to them. And so I was going to use those savings accounts for different bills. So you answered that. So that's perfect. I just wanted to make sure I was on the right track.
Absolutely, absolutely. You want to make sure with your budget that you are putting money towards savings. You know, a lot of times savings are challenging for people, but they have apps. I love these apps that are out here. I have an app I use, and it automatically takes money out of my account based on your balance. It'll take it out and it'll put it to certain different accounts, and that's, like I said, I have a certain reserve account. I never say emergency account, because if you say to call it emergency, it's going to be an emergency, right? So I call it a reserved account, and then I have an account for my daughter. Y'all, I tell you, my daughter, bless her heart, and she lives on her own, she works, and I'm so proud of her, but every now and again she needs to get over. So what do? I have a savings account that just has her name on it. So it automatically saves her that. When I had my wedding, when I was getting married, I had a wedding fund.
Oh, beautiful, yes.
So you plan ahead. You know, you might have a big purchase you want to do. You know, identify how much that's going to cost and how much you are willing to attribute to it. Set a goal, a deadline, like, okay, by, you know, this time next year, I want to save this amount of money, and break it down and then make it a goal.
Yes. So while you were talking, I was thinking about the app, because I have the app tells me, do you want to save in this certain area? Now, one of them is some insurances, but you guys gonna have to pray for me, because I'm such a loyal person. And so I'm in business in certain areas with people that I know. And I'm like, well, maybe I think I'm going to look and see what the other people are offering, and then go to that person and say, can they do it, before I just totally switch. But I love the app. It tells, it lists, it was like 3 to 5 things that says you can save in these areas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you want me to send you quotes?
Yes,
and I'm going to do that this 2026. I'm sorry, I love you, but business is business.
Right. Business is business, and you got to take care of your own financial fitness.
Yes, your financial fitness. Yes.
So I think this was great. Hopefully, if you have any questions, we want to make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We'll hopefully bring you more interesting points. And if there's something you'd like to hear, just put it in there in the chat, and we'll revisit it at some point.
Yes. Thank you for tuning in. Like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, see ya.